Well, hello everyone. You here show you right here is like the Jaycee Lee Christmas song top up for little sister, and if anybody has seen from the previous activities talk about for Cake Make Bakery, but this activity right here talks about you say a song in particular, and could be for like any work for a digital designers to where that they go ahead and what you call create like a custom made or so say CD tracks or something like go and buy for any songwriters, but talk about the song goes by for Jaycee Lee. But this right here actually talks about around Christmas time in front of the Christmas tree, and the way I went and do this right here is to where that yeah working right here on using on Photoshop is to where that I was put in some color right here, and then as well as using InDesign, I went ahead and put in some of the lyrics right here. So let's just say if we go by, say, for Little Sister. And so if anybody warrants this story, yeah, you're going to have what you call Big Sister and Little Sister right here. And let's just say that they will be what you call, sitting in front of the Christmas tree. And like anybody say, yeah, you got piano right here. And then you have right here is the Christmas tree. And I went the way I drew these right here is like looking at the book to get me some ideas, and as well as have right here is the Christmas order. So I know like with anybody that if they're gonna be what you call curious to know about, hey, what's that? And like if anybody has seen from one of those movies, it'll be as like for It's a Wonderful Life or a few other movies from the original, I guess if you want to call it cast, movies as to where, look, Daddy, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. But on the other hand, that you have right here is like the Christmas ornaments. And I was also thinking about, whenever I was putting this together, if I want to go ahead and draw some examples, which as of right now, more likely maybe by next week, I'll see about how this goes. But by next week, if anybody wants to see, any more, examples or what I can come up with, talk about, for Christmas ornaments. And I know most of us have seen, from the Cake Make Bakery, that we've seen the one about that you talk about for baking recipes, but talk about for Christmas ornaments. And so I know that anybody from maybe from the back in the early in 1987 that it's like the first thing that they look forward to besides the Christmas presents. It will be the music and as well as the Christmas ornaments. And within each source of ornaments, though, that they say that for how that they're made especially. And so if anybody wants this story, yeah, if they're going to talk about maybe between what you call the fragile made or like the homemade or anything like that, you need source of Christmas ornaments. And I know that like with the many of Christmas ornaments that whenever you put them up on a tree and basically that represent like the season greeting for the around Christmas time. So let's just say that if this was the case right here is to her for Jaycee right here and her baby sister right here, her little sister, and if they were to be what you call standing, sitting in front of the Christmas tree, and I say knowing about between your sisters together right here, and you have right here is the lyrics right here for Jaycee Lee. Wake up at 5 a.m. at morning on a wonderful morning. Jaycee Lee, and then the ornaments on the green glowing Christmas tree so glorious. And so this verse right here was the type of lyric that I went ahead and gave the songwriting. And so if anybody wants this story that they may have heard that the song goes by for Jaycee Lee, but then I was also thinking about this tour if I want to go ahead and come up with maybe a few lyrics about if this was supposed to be around Christmas time. And and if anybody will warrant tour, yeah, that when you think that more likely that any of your work that could be what you call on market, but still that I can maybe say is that well, really that other than from the designer and as well as the person you're knowing about for who's what's represented by about the author of the book for J.C. Dugard as well as the family that decide about for what goes up on market. But I could probably say that whenever I do look and read through the book and just knowing about for ways of how I want to go ahead and talk about it, and then talk about for what I think about for whenever I read through the book and think about the relationship about the sisters right there. The years that the Jaycee had missed with her younger sister, and think about is toward the yeah that just to draw like a little sketch right here of the two sisters right here. So let's just say that yeah, you have altogether about four other pictures right here. Just change the colors of the background, and you have right here is a little bit of a close up, but still they have right here for Jaycee Dugard and right here, and then so let's just say if this was right here was Jaycee right here in front of the piano along with her little sister Shayna, and if I wanted to, where you're going to be drawing these, and and I could probably tell anybody here to look at this if I do some Photoshop work. I can maybe do a little bit more Photoshop work right here. But I really think though that if this were to be looking pretty neat enough, I'm like, this looks almost like that. Yeah, that if anybody say if anybody has ever gotten into the Girl Scouts, and I really just think that this will be kind of a cute little picture portrait right here for like representing for Girl Scouts. And I don't know about anybody else, what anybody else thinks as well, but still that talk about for Girl Scouts, for girl, the brownies, and as well as Girl Scouts and the Girl Scout troops. And I don't know if anybody, I don't know if Little Sister Shayna, or if it was the book author of A City of Freedom, and as well as for Stone Life, if any of them have gotten into the Girl Scouts. I don't remember that being mentioned in the book about Girl Scouts. So it's like wanting to where the amount of friends that she had, in the South Lake Tahoe area that weren't to where that she mentioned anything about the Girl Scouts. But any sorts of careers that more likely that the ladies would have, and think about as to where writing a best-selling book and the things that you would like to learn for the future. But I'm trying to recall if there was anything that mentioned about Girl Scouts. But anyway, but you have right here is like for our sisters together right here. And I also wanted to talk about right here is to where if this was supposed to be like, say, for sisters that the younger sister, whenever they grow up, that think about is to where that big sister to be able to teach the little sister about something, and one of those could be is to where, well, you be careful now with the Christmas tree. You're maybe teaching them about maybe how to play the big sister can maybe teach the little sister about how to play the piano, and then nearly 20 years later, and it's like, yeah, that the little sister could teach the big sister something too, teaching them how to drive, and maybe teaching them a few basics about what you call in-kitchen cleaning or something like that, or something like that. So, well, what do we call that usually for whenever a big sister and then a little sister? You're going to have a little sister and then you're going to have a big sister right here. And they are going to, it's like going to come at that moment to where, yeah, the big sister, they say is going to, one of them is going to say is to where, yeah, it's, they're going to teach you how to do something, and you may think that really that usually the big sister is supposed to teach the little sister a lot of things too. Maybe it's like one of those is to where how to dance, and I don't know, Mike. Has anybody taught anybody I say that knowing about how to dance? And you're like one to where I guess you just is it all required is to where you just get up and dance and just do a few. It dances to the right and then to the left, and then do a twirl around, or maybe do a twirl around, or maybe it's to jump up and down or something like that. And then, but still, that a right or wrong way of how to dance. And really, that not too many, not really anybody has really taught me how to dance. But let's just say there was a particular way, and if anybody wanted toward it, yeah, what do you call that for? Whenever siblings that would teach you something, and one of those would be used toward teaching them how to drive. The other one could be used toward it, yeah, teaching them maybe about how to do laundry, or maybe about how to fix something, or maybe about how to put on makeup, or maybe how to be a writer or a speech artist, or anybody like that. And so you're like think about is toward that between your big sister and little sister, a lot of things that what they have in common. And with this song right here is to where it talks about it's like on your hand with mother and daughter right here, but you have right here with these sisters right here. So let's just say that with the sister right here would be extremely curious about as to what's that on the Christmas tree, sis? So you're going to have it to where that, yeah, that, and I'm sure most of us have heard that before, to where that sisters, siblings that they get in their fights, siblings that do fight, but the way I drew this, painted on Photoshop right here, if anybody can see this right here looks a little bit like a, maybe like on a cereal box or something like that. As to where, yeah, that for what's your favorite cereal, and if anybody wants, as to where that for who taught you about how to solve crossword puzzles, and who taught you about the basics about what's on the cereal box, and who taught you about how to use a telephone. So if anybody wants this tour, you're going to have maybe, other than the parents, you're going to maybe have the sisters, the sisters who's going to be spending equal time with each other, especially around Christmas holiday. And you're like thinking about it, it's like for Jaycee Lee, like knowing about getting up at 5 a.m. and knowing like being around the Christmas tree. But on your hand, that if anybody warrants this tour, yeah, you're going to be real extremely curious about what's on the Christmas tree. You have right here is the Christmas ornament. You say for Jaycee Lee Degar right here, and as well as for Sister Shayna, and then the Sister Shayna could be what you call reaching up and say, "Hey sis, what's that?" So you have right there, yeah, the Christmas tree right there, and then as well as the Christmas ornament. And I know that any toddlers who are going to be between 8 and 12 or maybe 15 months old are going to be extremely curious and want to pick something up and maybe want to put it put it in their mouth, or maybe get on their hands, or maybe on their outfit. And so that's just the thing, that whenever they pick up something, that what does that usually mean? And it's like, yeah, that they just checking it out, or they just want to play with it, something like that. For knowing about who could be extremely curious about something and want to know, like, yeah, right here is the Christmas ornament. And if anybody wants, yeah, the Christmas ornament, huh? Yeah, the Christmas ornament that this. And I didn't include all the details, like maybe the candy canes. So if anybody wanted to, where you had the gingerbread men and then the candy canes, anything else that you would think that you would be able to find on a Christmas tree. So if anybody wants, is that how come you didn't include that? But really, I want to go ahead and just trying to get what you call just I guess the main point is like knowing about, for knowing about who likes to spend equal time, especially with just some certain someone, especially on the holidays. And you have right here is talk about right here is the piano thing about is to where that talk about for siblings, so is to where about how much do we show that we care, that we love each other especially. And for a little sister, and I don't know if these two sisters have ever come to that time to where that since I'm the oldest, that I'm the boss or something like that. I'm like that, yeah, that for knowing about how sisters spend equal time with each other. And just think about it, as to where, yeah, spending equal time with each other basically means is to where that, yeah, that you would be it's like showing about the time and willingness is to where that, hey sis, how you doing, or one of them could be what you call, let's go for a drive, or hey, let's work on so something like what you call, well, let's work on a puzzle together, or let's watch TV together, or something like that. So I guess the question kind of goes by as to where that, how do we handle it to whenever you're going to have a sister or a brother that's going to maybe ask you if you want to do something with them, and it's like, well, and then one of them that may say is toward it, well, you're not no better than me, or that if it's anything about what you call that, that they may get mad at each other for, that they beat each other, that one of them that beat one another on a video game, or maybe that on any sorts of activity, and so really that for anybody who's going to be growing up, that you're going to have a sibling that staying is toward it, yeah, since they are the oldest, that maybe that they deserve more, or they deserve to be treated equally, like, or more, or get more attention, or anything like that. But of course, for Jaycee Dugard, what I read all about on from the book is to where that I don't know if anybody would maybe think that it's all true either, is to where that about the stepfather as well as the parent, for a biological father and the stepfather, is that whenever that, I guess you say, when parents, it's like whenever they raise a kid, though, is that them to understand about as to where between the biological parents and the real parents, but between the step parents and biological parents, but you see right here is that I want to talk about is to where that about the stepdaughter and then the biological daughter. So let's just say that whenever parents do meet and then they have a kid, and that's whenever that goes by is to where that, yeah, that you may think this to where that, well, that's not your real daughter. Your biological daughter is the youngest one, and so some that may think is toward that they were raised in the family to where it known about, even if you were what you call the baby of the family, the youngest or maybe the oldest, but just think about it as to where you will be considered the stepdaughter or maybe the half daughter of you say of the parent, and think as to where yeah, that for how much that they like you, that they appreciate you of being a part of the family as well, and then for how much that they respect you for being a part of the family. And so that's just a thing that I know, like with anybody, if they're going to be writing any book, that they more likely would say is to where that, yeah, that with your parents, though, that they may ask the questions to where, did you like him better than me? Or, did you love him, love his work better than my work or something? So that you may have some of your kids that may ask you that question is to where that, did you like him better than me? And it's like, no, no, I liked you both the same, or I loved you both the same. And then they ask, well, you were different with me a lot of times, or that, every time I said hi to you, you just kind of, look back and glance back for a second. So I know with a lot of kids that, the way that they were born and raised, that they may think is toward, yeah, that with anything that they're doing, especially working on their homework or anything that they put their, for their careers, anything that they put their mind up for their career, and think about is toward it, for how much that we're willing to show about what's appreciated, and some that may weren't toward it. Yeah, that when do we think that we would know when our parents would be mad at us, or maybe that there's a situation to where we feel like that we are not, we are unwanted, we are unloved, in the family or something like that. So that it goes by to say the question and concern of the matter. And I know that that's one thing that I know, for Jaycee Degard is like, from her book I talk about for the Stone Life, is that yeah, whenever parents, it's like whenever they remarry, or that maybe that what you call that there's a new member of the family or so, and think about it toward between stepdaughter and stepdad, or maybe a biological, or maybe it could be a half brother or half sister. So you have these families, these family trees, if you want to call it, and for how people meet, and then the first concern that they may have is toward that, yeah, that that the sister or the brother may feel like that they are unwanted, or that they feel like that they are less important because that mommy or daddy, that they don't give them enough equal amount of attention or appreciation or love, you say on a daily basis. And so let's just say that one of these would be is to about a career, though. So let's just say that if the younger sister, that whenever they grow up, the other younger brother or younger sister, but I'll go ahead and say younger sister, the little sister, and go ahead and say the little sister, but with this little sister is to whenever they grow up and then they get a job, and think about it as to where maybe if not too many people have heard of that job, or maybe it's like, well, that your uncle or your aunt, or maybe so, and this person that you know from this side of the family who was that person, and but then they may start picking on you about, well, that was what you call, that they may say something about, upper class, that they get paid a little bit more just because they've been with the company for more than 5 years, or maybe something like that they got a little bit more skill and more proved experience than what you do, or something like that. So they may say something like that. So that's just the thing is toward it for being the youngest compared from being the oldest. So if you're going to have two sisters right here spending equal time with each other, and think about it toward it, that they play games with each other, and as well as play music, and as well as spending time around the Christmas tree, for the Christmas holiday. And if anybody wants to, yeah, it reminds me of that the song that's like goes by the drummer boy. It's like I had no gift to bring, oh rum pum pum pum, dun, dun. And but still there are a few other Christmas songs as well. And if anybody wanted to, or whenever you were very young, that you can maybe remember some of the Christmas tunes. But you have right here is like for the Christmas ornament. So I know that if anybody wants to, if you're going to have a little sister and think us toward it, yeah, that same Christmas ornament, maybe if it was a Christmas ornament that you made that took you 3 hours to put together. It was a Christmas ornament that you made. It was a with just a little bit of tape and glue, and as well as a little bit of paper, and just to be able to place the pieces together, just to be able to form an ornament. You hang it up on the Christmas tree. And what does it usually represent necessarily? Does it usually represent is toward it, hey, if you remember, the year that you put that together. So if you say, yeah, you have right here's the Christmas ornament. And let's just say that with the Christmas ornament, that may represent is to where two sisters, both sisters, Shana and I together. Well, Shana and I together. Like you have right here's the little sister and then the big sister together right here. So that's just the thing about it, to where I think about is that where the song goes is to where if anybody warns is that for Jaycee Lee right here, it's like so far as Jaycee, yeah, Jaycee Lee, but or it's like Jaycee Lee, but you wake up at 5 a.m. morning on a wonderful morning, and Jaycee Lee, the ornament on the green glowing Christmas tree, so glorious, so glorious, and then top up her little sister, and so that's just a thing about us to it. Looking at have right here, so you got right here's the pink background right here. So if anybody wants us to it, you have that to where Jaycee Lee and talk about for Christmas. But I know that I could have worked a little bit more on the lyrics, especially. It's like I know that most of these all say the same thing, but let's just say that like for any source of song, the writing and talk about us to about how sisters spend time together and think about his tour that the older sister or the little sister is going to grow up, and think about his tour what they are going to be whenever they grow up. And the question goes by his tour if they're going to respect that his tour, yeah, that they whenever they grow up, that they're knowing about that they want to be an author, or that they want to be what you call they want to work for the charities or maybe for the foundations, or that maybe that they want to work for a printing company or something like that. And think about it to where that you may have heard that before, to where most parents would say is that whenever you grow up, I want you to be just like me. Be like your father, or be like your mom, or be like your aunt or uncle. That there's somebody that may talk you into be something like if it's a therapist or maybe psychologist or a third, anything about maybe a lawyer or anybody else that they may say is toward it. The first thing that they may mention about is maybe about how much money they make, but then knowing about for all the ability for what you can do also, all the ability for what you can do, and they may say is that most musicians and maybe a musical artist that they some that may say that they make very little money compared to some other people, but still that if we all think about it, to where respecting other persons, it's like to where you're going to have a little sister right here, and let's just say that with the little sister that think about it, to where that yeah, with the little sister right there, that they have something that maybe the big sister they don't have. And that's whenever they say that, yeah, for how do you handle that to where about siblings? So whenever siblings spend equal time with each other, especially on the Christmas holiday, during the Christmas holiday, that they decide that they want to watch a movie together, or they want to go ahead and solve a puzzle together, play a game together and think about is toward it, yeah, that for knowing about really that you for that there's what you call it some source of connection between one another. And I guess you say to respect that is toward it. There's a connection right there. It's like you have right there, and I'm sure anybody say, especially, it's like for how Jaycee was rebuilding her life, and as well as with for a for 18 years that she missed with her family also, and thickens toward it, for all of what she thinks, for what she's been able to work out, for for the Jace Foundation also. But they have a talk about for sisters together, and if anybody warrants us toward it, yeah, that you know if there's been that concern as toward it, yeah, you see, you may have seen it, their work and their name published in maybe the catalogs, or maybe if it was they were honored for a medal at what you call it band practice, or at the cheerleading practice or something like that, maybe at a sports event. But just think about it to where that if anybody say about how much do we show for how much do we care about our siblings, if it's going to be a little brother or a little sister, about showing about how much that we care about them. I'm like show much how much we love them too, because if anybody wants us toward it, yeah, that well, really, that why would you even be wanting to go or participate like it? If you got a little brother or you got a big sister or so that's going to be participating maybe in a speech or maybe in a ceremony. It could be maybe a choir, or it could be any sort other sorts of activity, such as maybe a Christmas event. And think about it toward it, Roy, that for how much, whenever they see their brother or their little sister, and are they going to think about it toward it something that they have that maybe you're always going to think about is toward it. Yeah, well, I'm the oldest. I deserve to have more than what they have, but think about it toward that. And some that may say, why I attended the party, or do you know why that I had purchased that item or something to remember by as well, as toward that what I love my little sister, or I love my big brother, or that for showing about the willingness about for what you call it, the members of the family may not be the biological brother or sister, but then think about it to where it's like for knowing about that for each of these, what we call these, the source of life, by human beings, is toward that these people who were what you call that you were pretty close as like if you were related. And think about it toward for how much that you are related to them, and think as toward that you may teach them something, and think about the things that you remember whenever you were a kid also, is to where yep, you had your fights, you had your arguments, and you had your sayings. And sometimes say that whenever you get mad at each other, that you say things that you don't mean to say either. And sometimes that you might say whenever you get mad enough that you might lose control over what you call your patience and your comments, your sense as well, as to where you say things and you say that or what you call that are just not necessary as well. So just think about it to where sometimes, so that some say that if you get real mad enough, that sometimes it seems like to where really, I'm like, are you better off just trying to hold your breath before you say it, or is it to where to just say it one time but then don't say it again? But on your hand, that I say for taking a few deep breaths in and out and knowing about just to where that try to solve the situation also. But anyway, but talk about for anything about what you call a scene, for sisters that spend equal time with each other as well. And if anybody wants this story you have right here is the Christmas order right here on the Christmas tree. And some of them may say, yeah, I like the Christmas ornament. And say, yeah, candy canes or anything like that that they may find on a Christmas tree, and as well as the Christmas lights. And think about it to where they were to write a song. And what do you think it would be about? This young gingerbread man or something like that, or if it's anything about the twinkly smile on the kiddo's picture or something like that, the twinkly smile. Little sister Shayna and then big sister Jaycee. And so I say for the twinkly smile. The twinkly smile. And if anybody warns us toward it, yeah, there's going to be a song representing for the twinkly smile as well. But thanks for watching, everyone, and talk about for Jaycee Lee, talking about for Christmas song, and talk about for little sister about how much we show that we love each other as well, and knowing about if it's going to be what you call a step aunt or maybe the in-laws or anybody that think about us toward it. Yeah, that for knowing about anything, for what they any source of career, any source of talents that they have as well, as to where that for how we are willing to respect that as well. And I'll say for Jaycee Lee Christmas and say for Jaycee Lee, it's like anybody say, whenever you wake up the next morning and realize that just knowing about us to where that, yeah, that for the amount of accomplishments that were going on, and if anybody wanted to where, yeah, for this holiday season, is to where there's something to bring us all something special for the holidays. And one of those is to where something that maybe we can remember by, is to where, yeah, there's something about you that maybe if I missed, or there's something, there's something about me that, it's like there's something about you that I missed, and I say, yeah, well, there's something about you I may have missed too. But on the other hand, too, knowing about for the amount of love you showed for one another, huh? It's knowing about for Jaycee Lee for the ornament of the green glowing Christmas tree, so glorious, so glorious. But that, it's like, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.